The New Orleans Saints defense needed a bounce back in minicamp day 2, and they got it, but the offense found a way to fight back late. Iron sharpening iron. We got all that and a little bit of lagniappe for you on today's episode of Locked On Saints.
You are Locked On Saints, your daily New Orleans Saints podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, Who Dat Nation and Who Dat family? I'm your host, Ross Jackson, New Orleans native, your New Orleans Saints expert, and credentialed member of the media covering those New Orleans Saints as a senior writer and reporter over at Saints News Network. And on today's quick hit episode, getting you all up to date with everything you need to know for New Orleans Saints day 2 of minicamps, we're going to take a look at how Alvin Kamara is back. We're going to dive into Derek Carr, who was absolutely clutch in today's practice. And we're going to kick everything off with the New Orleans Saints showing again that their defensive takeaway potential could be the backbone of their defensive success. Just like in 2023, they might be ready to do it again in 2024. We appreciate you very much, as always, for making Locked On Saints your first listen of the day every day and for being an everydayer here on the Locked On Saints podcast, which is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Marshon Lattimore did not take time off of like in any wasted time at all yesterday when it came to playing every single one of his snaps. And he built on that again today, showing to be the star that he is out to prove that he still is, with a big time interception in today's practice. And I think that's one of those pieces that adds a lot of credence to Marshon Lattimore's dedication, Marshon Lattimore's ability, still absolutely there. And of course, the impact that he and the rest of the secondary can have for this New Orleans Saints team in 2024, which when it comes to takeaway potential, looks like they can still be the backbone of this defense. Marshon Lattimore picking off Spencer Rattler on a target to Bub Means, which has been sort of Spencer Rattler's favorite target all throughout. Marshon was guarding kind of the right side of the field, defensive right. And as Rattler let go of that football, Marshon just jumped the route. I mean, jumped the route perfect, as if he had studied the tape on Spencer Rattler and Bub Means on 14 different games or so and was just ready. Jumped the route, got the interception, and the defense, he was playing with some second team defense at that point. Spencer Rattler has been moved up to second team reps. I wouldn't read too much into that. Jake Haener's been having arguably the better camp, or inarguably rather, the better camp. But you move these guys around so they get to get reps with different players, and so that the guy that's typically working with the third team gets some reps with starters and stuff like that. Like, you're going to move these guys all around. But Marshon Lattimore was put out there, and Marshon Lattimore got to kind of welcome Spencer Rattler to the NFL a little bit with the interception. When he picked it off, his teammates that were over on the sideline went absolutely nuts. Dennis Allen went absolutely nuts. Like, the defense just went crazy with this interception. And for me, that's one of those things that goes to show you that there's still all the talk around Marshon Lattimore. Oh, he hasn't been around OTAs and the team's not going to respect that, blah, blah, blah. It's all noise. All of it's noise. And all this other talk that like Marshon Lattimore is, not good for the locker room or not good for the team. Like, the way that they celebrated him is not the way that you celebrate a guy that has been a problem in your locker room. So I think this went to kind of curb a few of those narratives. And a few of those narratives we've been pushing back against really here on the show for quite a while. So it was great to see that. The other thing that we got to see was another interception, his third interception now since OTAs. Millard Bradford, the TCU undrafted free agent safety, beautifully undercut a route by Dallin Holker. It was a dig coming from the left side of the field to the right side of the field, digging from the offensive perspective. This one was thrown by Jake Haener. Millard Bradford just read it all the way. It was his first snap out on the field. John Hendricks, my partner over at Saints News Network and Second and Saints, we were looking for Millard Bradford. We were like, man, we haven't really seen a lot of Millard Bradford out there. They were giving Roderick Teamer, a veteran that they brought in on a training camp, on a tryout, who's from the area. They gave him sort of the reps ahead of Millard Bradford, which makes sense. You give the veteran the reps before you go to the rookie. But then the rookie got on the field and then immediately picked the ball off. And look, Jake Haener probably should not have thrown that pass. I mean, from our perspective, we were looking at the back of the defense, though. So much easier for us to read all of that than it was for, for Jake Haener in that situation to read all that. But the thing that was really nice is when you run these dig routes, you're talking about a 90-degree angle to where, in this case, the tight end, Dallin Hooker, will push upfield vertically and then will cut 90 degrees going towards the middle of the field. And the way that you have two options to play that, you can try to beat the tight end or the route runner to the point of attack by getting ahead of them, or you can cut underneath them and then undercut the pass. And that's the route that he chose. He chose to undercut the pass. Beautifully timed, fantastic interception, big time takeaway there. We also saw pass breakups from Ugo Amadi. We also saw Ugo Amadi again close to an interception. Alontae Taylor, I'm going to give you some attendance stuff here in just a second, but Alontae Taylor was not there. Said it was, Dennis Allen updated that it was an oblique thing that he's dealing with. Probably won't be out there tomorrow as well, Dennis Allen said, but not anything serious, it sounds like. So we'll probably just see him back at training camp. So with Alontae Taylor out, Ugo Amadi was manning the slot. He had a PBU, and then he also came very close to an interception that turned into a catch and run by Taysom Hill that I'm going to tell you about here in a little bit when we get to Derek Carr. We also saw an Isaiah Stallbird pass breakup. We saw an Anthony Johnson pass breakup. The New Orleans Saints did not get a lot of sacks last year. They were under 40 sacks for the first time since 2017. The run defense took a big step back, but the one thing that did not take a big step back at all and really took steps forward was the secondary, the passing defense. Way up on takeaways last year, then takeaways the year before. Way up on interceptions last year, then the year before. And it looks like that trend is set to continue because you're seeing Millard Bradford get interceptions. You're seeing Ugo Amadi make plays on the ball. You're seeing another undrafted free agent in Isaiah Stallbird, the linebacker, to make plays on the ball. You're seeing Marshon Lattimore lead the way with the big interception. Moments like that goes to show you that this coaching staff is instilling the mindset of the takeaway from 1 to 90 when it comes to the roster. I mean, whatever the defensive players are in that range, of course, or 91 in the Saints case. So, the New Orleans Saints defense needed a bounce back. They absolutely found it. But the Saints offense definitely fought back. So let's get to that here next because Derek Carr got the opportunity to close practice out with a clutch drive. And boy, was he clutch. We're going to get to that and why Alvin Kamara is definitely back as we continue on with today's episode of Locked On Saints, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Saints is brought to you by our friends at GameTime, the absolute must-go destination when it comes to getting tickets to your favorite events, whether you're looking for football, basketball, whether you're looking for different sports, maybe you're looking for comedy, concerts, theater, and much more. You can find it all over on GameTime. Right now, you can even get preseason tickets for the New Orleans Saints up against the Tennessee Titans. I saw yesterday, $3 on GameTime. So if you want to check them out in a game where you're going to see some of the starters, probably a good opportunity for you to grab a nice and affordable seat to go enjoy a nice night out here in New Orleans. So absolutely might want to go and check that out. And of course, all the big concerts, NBA finals, if you're in those areas, Dallas or Boston, it's a great place to grab your tickets as well. So take all the guesswork out of buying your tickets, whether it be for the NBA finals or otherwise, with GameTime today. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off of your first purchase. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Let's get it, Who Dat Nation. Wrapping up our quick hit episode here, giving you everything that you need to know from kind of a high-level highlight overview of what happened at mandatory minicamps today. And I'm really focusing on two things today. There's other stuff that I'll kind of throw in here at the end, and we're going to dive into more tomorrow. Don't forget, we are your team every day. So make sure you come back tomorrow. I'm going to explain a little bit about what we're seeing for this New Orleans Saints offense and how they're showing that their identity on offense is already kind of almost fully developed. We're going to get into that in tomorrow's episode, especially following up on a year where it didn't feel like that Saints offense had an identity, at least not one that they really trusted. So it seems like everything's going in the appropriate direction here in 2024 without much overcorrection. So Derek Carr was absolutely perfect today in a clutch situation. So the New Orleans Saints have been practicing a little bit more situational stuff over the course of minicamp so far. On Tuesday's minicamp, they did things like, catching the ball in a clock running situation without timeouts, catching the ball over the middle field, get down, get up to the line, spike the football, things like that. They ran some end of half simulations with 58 seconds left in Tuesday's practice as well. Today, they ran some end of game simulations with about 1 minute and 30 seconds left. And in that minute and 30-second drive, Derek Carr went a perfect 6 of 6, including a touchdown pass to Alvin Kamara and a 2-point conversion to Rashid Shaheed. You see, the situation that they started off with was a game that they were trailing 23-28. They got the touchdown to Alvin Kamara to kind of bring it in a little bit, took the lead 29-28. Then they went for 2 to extend it to a 3-point lead, forced the field goal in this simulated situation for the opposing offense. And they got that. So they extended their lead to 31-28. So that was the scenario there. I'm just going to read off kind of what the plays were. I don't typically do chronological order stuff in here, but I just want you to notice a little something. So the first thing was a pass to Alvin Kamara on the left side. And not only was a pass, but it was a screen with lead blockers out in front, lots of yardage to go. In fact, I think that it gained more yardage than they gave the drill. I think it gained too much yardage. It might have been a touchdown, to the point in which they blew it dead and said, okay, you're down here, now keep going. So that was with a minute, 30 seconds left on the clock. They got back and kind of reassembled their offense at that point. Then you got a catch on the right sideline by Taysom Hill. That was the one that Ugo Amadi, the safety who was playing nickel, almost picked off. Really, really nice break on the ball. Just barely missed the timing. Maybe just missed the timing on the arms or the hands. But Taysom was able to catch it kind of in the flat, turn it up, pick up some big yards there as well. So a nice catch and run there by Taysom Hill. Then 2 more back-to-back completions to Taysom Hill. You got to keep that going. And then what I believe was a wheel route for about 25-ish yards from Derek Carr to Alvin Kamara down the left sideline for a touchdown. So I just want to make sure that I highlight what I just said here. A screen pass to Alvin Kamara. A wheel route to Alvin Kamara for a touchdown, targeting Alvin Kamara in the end zone in the passing game. 3 straight passes to Taysom Hill, who played a big-time like possession receiver role in this type of situation. He was lined up at tight end and in the slot, but I mean, he was like the possession guy. Then they came back for the 2-point conversion, and then an out route from Derek Carr to Rashid Shaheed in the back corner of the end zone after Rashid Shaheed was able to get loose off of Marshon Lattimore, who again had that interception just one team period before that. So the offense responded. This is what I talked about in yesterday's episode. If you didn't catch it, or really this morning's episode, if you didn't catch it, I talked about how the defense needed to have a bounce back day. They got that bounce back day. The reason why they needed that was because the defense needed to show that they were willing to challenge the offense the way that the offense has been challenging them. The defense showed that. Interceptions, pass breakups, sacks. We saw Trajan Jeffcoat into a team series with a sack, or what looked like a sack. We saw Anthony Orgy in a play action boot rollout. Led to the play being blown dead because he covered it so well and basically would have had a sack on the quarterback, Jake Haener, in that situation. So defense showed up, but then the offense felt the need to respond and then absolutely did. And they responded in a way that I think we can safely say Alvin Kamara is so back. The Alvin Kamara game plan is so back. Let me say it that way, because we don't know what it actually all looks like yet once there's, full on high speed, full speed competition. But the Alvin Kamara game plan is so back, and I'm perfectly comfortable saying that. Wheel route, screen pass. On the same drive. Not just that they happened, but on the same drive. Literally 3 plays apart from one another. Yeah, the Alvin Kamara game plan is so back. And it's clear that Derek Carr is getting more and more and more and more and more comfortable in this offense and with his weapons. Very, very clear for that as well. All right, a couple of attendance updates for you. As I mentioned, Alontae Taylor did not participate in today's minicamp. Oblique injury, will probably not be there for tomorrow's day either, but Dennis Allen says not a serious thing, should be pretty minor. Juwan Johnson, again, out of practice. I've been told that it's not of much concern, but we'll see. Brian Brzee, who missed yesterday's practice, was back. And then Kool-Aid McKinstry went through individual drills today, so taking a little bit of a step ahead for the rookie second-round draft pick cornerback out of Alabama. And similarly, Jaylon Ford, the 5th-round draft pick out of Texas, linebacker, took his first team snaps today as well. So you're seeing every rookie now, at least on the field in some way. Not everybody's participating in teams, like Kool-Aid's not participating in teams yet, but was out there for stretch, was out there for individual drills, things like that. So things trending in the right direction. All right, you want to hear more about how the New Orleans Saints identity is like very, very clear as we're watching OTAs? Make sure you come back for tomorrow morning's episode of Locked On Saints. We're going to take a much deeper dive into that. We appreciate you very much. As always, making us your first listen of the day every day. Don't forget to go and check out Locked On Sports Today, the 24/7 stream, and of course, the 20 to 25-minute show hosted by Peter Bukowski, keeping you up to date with everything going on around the world of sports. You'd also go and check out Jake Madison over at Locked On Pelicans. Thank you very much, as always, making Locked On Saints a part of your day, part of your routine for saying yes to me and the show. As always, if you see me, please say hi. And if you need anything else around your New Orleans Saints in between these episodes, make sure you follow me on your favorite social media at Ross Jackson, NOLA. Hit me up. Let me know how the family's doing. Let me know how you living. Let me know how you momming them. And trust Who Dat Nation. I'll holla at you.